welcome to the Boatnik. If you went to my YouTube channel and you read the description of my channel, you may have noticed that it said not only boating and fishing and sailing and boat repair and all that, but it also said an occasional random stuff. Well, today is one of those occasional random stuff days.
I'm cutting out some vinyl lettering for a little boat. Using a little Graph-Tech plotter. And then I'm also using, I use Corel for drawing in, and then I've got a plug-in for Corel for the Graph-Tech. Using up a drop that I had that was wide enough to cut it and long enough to cut two of them out of. And this is actually the lettering, my numbers for my little rowboat, my little dinghy that I've got. I've got a little 7-foot Sumner dinghy. So let's see how that turned out here. I mess with so many boats, I have to cut my own stuff. So there you go. Ready to weed. But right now I'm cutting the numbers for that Com-Pac 16. I'm using my Graph-Tech 24-inch plotter. Working on this little logo. I did the shark bait logo on a friend's fishing boat, and then we did some other things. We did, we added the fishing team and a lot of different things. We did stickers and I don't know. We just did a lot of different things. Put it on coolers and all kind of stuff. And anyway, he got another small boat, and he wanted to put the shark bait 2, as in, or also I guess it would be like shark bait 2 TO. Anyway, that's what he wanted. The little green triangles, those are just alignment marks, so that because I've got 4 different layers going here. I've got a gray, kind of a silver gray drop shadow, and then the black, and then the red, and then the blue. And so the little triangles, I put that on each layer in the exact same spot, and that helps me with alignment. And then when I get through, I just peel those off. But this is going on this small boat, and it's going on a hatch cover or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, he's asked me to do this for him, so I've done a lot of different things for him with this general thing here that we come up with. This is what's on the side of this main boat right here, and it looks real good on this boat. So you can see the 4 layers here. I'll start out with the drop shadow layer, which is that silver gray, and then put the black on top of that, and then the red on top of that, and then the blue on top of that. So here I've just put the black on top of the silver gray, which is like a drop shadow kind of, and you can see how I use these alignment marks stacked on top of each other. There's a gray triangle underneath these black ones here, and I just line those up as I put it down. Pull off the transfer tape and then do the next layer. A couple of things I actually made yesterday. This is for some friends that are opening up a new restaurant, and this is going to go on either side of their mailbox. If you're in Sanford, North Carolina, after about the middle of July, I think they're opening middle of July, best barbecue around here at least, if not anywhere. Really good. They have pulled pork and brisket and a lot of different things like that. Really good. They're just opening up a new store. This is what I'm cutting. The green will be red. I'm just separated it out in layers so I could cut individual pieces if I need to. Little tiny triangles right there are just like reference marks or alignment marks. They'll come in handy later whenever I install it. So I'm going to turn off the green and the red. All I want is the black. This is where I can cut off my color layers here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to cut right there. I'm cutting it out of 15-inch wide vinyl, so there's going to be some scrap. But nothing major, and I always keep my drops, and that drop right there is what I typically cut like my boat letters out of. Okay, I'm syncing up the computer to the vinyl cutter. Send it to the vinyl cutter, and it will start cutting. That was a new roll of vinyl, so I had a little bit of edge there that was a little bit marred up, so I got past that before it started cutting. And this thing will cut like 10 times faster than this. I don't have it set to cut that fast. No more than I do. I don't need it to cut so fast.
I am working on some vinyl graphics, I guess you'd call it. I'm putting on a work van for a friend of mine. So today I'll be cutting, weeding, and installing some vinyl on the van. I do cut vinyl for myself on a regular basis, like for putting boat numbers on boat hulls and things like that, or occasionally names on boats and things like that. I don't typically do it for the public, but like I say, this is just a good friend that I've known since I was a kid. It's his company. Good people, good business, good honest people, and just a pleasure to do the work for him. But I've got it all cut, and so now I'm going to weed it, which is getting rid of all of the vinyl that you don't want. So this is an Orcal 751 vinyl, which is a cast vinyl. It weeds nicely, it installs nicely, and it lasts a long time. On this one, to make it easier for me to see my alignment, I'm going to cut some holes beside those little red triangles so I can see when they align with the black triangle. The first thing I got to do is clean the surface good. And I start out with just rubbing alcohol, or just denatured alcohol, whatever. That usually get rid of oh man, this thing is dirty.
Okay. So there's got my spacing right for it. Just a very, very light spray of application fluid. And then burnish down in the short direction. Now that transfer tape quite often will wrinkle when it gets wet, so that is a concern. But it's not normally a problem. Okay. Now this is the easy one. The red is the hard one. I'm gonna burnish it down to get that adhesive on the vinyl bonding. Squeeze out some of the water application fluid. And then pull that down at a really hard angle, very slowly, so if any of the letters start lifting, you can know to stop in time, save them. It's important is you don't want to do this out in the bright sunshine on a hot day. You need to be in the shade or inside of a building, or at least it be a cool day. A hot in the bright sunshine on a hot day makes it very, very difficult. Very difficult. Okay. There it is on with no bubbles, no air bubbles behind anything. and tight, and I'll just dry off some of this little bit of I don't want to wipe over those letters yet because they're still fresh. They might move. Just kind of get rid of some of the worst of the spray. Now again, those triangles, that's to align my red. That'll come off at the end, but not yet. If you could see there, around those little triangle reference marks or alignment marks, I just took my razor knife and just cut around them a little bit to just help me align them a little bit easier. So now I'm going to put it up there. I can just quickly line it right up, just like so. Now this door has got a curve in it, so it does make life interesting. That curve can cause a little bit of a problem, but anyway, there you go. So that lines up with the black underneath it. This one is a bit tricky because of all the curves, and what I'm going to try to do is apply the whole thing in one shot instead of breaking it in the middle. It may come back to bite me, but that's what I'm going to try. The problem with this is whenever I try to break it in the middle, if I'm not really careful, I end up getting a bad wrinkle right here, and I have to be really careful between the lettering. Right there's the only place I've got to break it, right there. Definitely don't want to break it anywhere in there like that. So what I'm going to try to do is just completely do the whole thing in one shot. So I'll take it over here. And then that piece of tape there is just for alignment. Whenever I pull it back around, that just gives me some alignment, a little bit of alignment control. Now, that's going to come in handy here in just a minute. Let's see how this goes. It may not work. Like I say, the
transfer tape, it'll wrinkle up from that spray, from that water, but it doesn't usually interfere with your vinyl if you're careful. All right, we'll see what I got. In this area. There you go. So that lined up good. Even my little red dot down here lined up good. And then I just take and peel that and that off. And it's all done, and there's no air bubbles under it anywhere. It's all nice and clean. Now, let's just see if I get lucky enough on the sides. The sides are actually slightly easier because it's bigger, so you know your fonts are not quite as finicky. But yeah, you can look down it like that, and you can see very quickly if you've got any kind of a bubble anywhere. But that all lays nice and tight.